Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today we are going to solve some interesting puzzles which are very complex and unusual puzzles. So are you ready to solve? Here is the first puzzle and I give you about 2 minutes of time. Maybe you can pause and take more time to think and then see if you can get this one right. So your time starts now. All right, I hope you paused and thought about it. Let's examine this position a bit more. If you see, the black's king is trapped to the corner, blocked by this cluster of pawns, and almost all the pawns are, blocked against each other. The only one pawn that can move for black is this d4 pawn, and white is ready to promote it to whatever he wants. Now, just if you look at this position, promoting it into a queen will be a big blunder. Reason is, now black obviously has only one single move, that is to push this pawn to d3, and any attempt to go for a checkmate, black doesn't have any legal move and it's a stalemate. If the same is true if you try to promote it into a rook, again you have the same problem that there are no checkmates possible and it will lead to a stalemate. Again, the case is same in the case of promoting it into a bishop. So the right answer is promoting it into a knight. So what happens here is, if black plays d3, you play knight b6 and not take on c7 because that will be a stalemate. So white has to be extremely careful and find this beautiful move knight b6, allowing black to gain some moves because he has still this pawn that can move two more squares. You push this. Again, we are running into the same trouble, not promoting it into a queen, but you should promote it into a knight. Otherwise, it's going to be the same situation as before. So promoting it into a knight and black pushes. Knight goes here, takes, push, again he pushes here. You go here, again same problem. For the third time, is going to promote it into a knight and black plays this. Now, white plays knight f6, takes, push, and again he has only one legal move. Now you promote it into a knight and that's checkmate. So that's the first puzzle. Let's go to the next one. All right. Here it's white to move. Your time starts now. Okay, now it's time to see the solution. If you have considered pushing this pawn just because rook is looking at b7 and creating some weakness on b7, looks like a very natural idea, but it leads nowhere. So the right idea here is to exploit this b7 weakness. And how can white do that? If you bring your bishop here expecting him to take, then you can recapture with your queen. It's a checkmate, but it's not necessary that he can capture. So white has to be a little bit more creative, looking at black's queen, not in a position to give a check anywhere. You can actually sacrifice your queen here. If he happens to take it this way, then it's pretty simple, straightforward checkmate. But black's best defense here would be to go rook b8. In this case, white actually has bishop to c6. Very powerful, stunning attack on b7. Now he is forced to bring in his queen to defend. As you can see, the king is cornered and then all of black's pieces are around, clustered at one place. And when you see such a position, you should look for smothered mates. Are there any sacrifices that you can give, offer so that it leads to a checkmate? In this case, queen takes a7, king is forced to take, and then rook a1 checkmate. I hope you got it right. Let's look into the third puzzle now. All right, this one is a bit tricky one. As you can see, white is exchanged down. He has one bishop and a rook for two rooks, and he has two pawns, and black has only one pawn. White is under attack. The king is attacking the bishop. This pawn is ready to be captured. Now white has to be very precise, otherwise this could, go bad for him. So take your time, find out what should white do here. All right, I hope you thought well enough. Now let's see the solution. The answer is white plays f7, threatening to promote it into a queen. Now, obviously, black wouldn't allow it, and he cannot go rook f2 because bishop is still controlling it. He cannot take this bishop because he will simply promote it into a queen and win the game. So the natural response is to go and stop that with this rook on f1. Now comes a very interesting attack. Pawn takes pawn, exposing the rook, asking him what you want to do. Of course, he cannot leave it hanging, so he goes and then defends on h2. Now, until this point, you might have got it right. The most challenging part begins here. Now, how should white continue? The answer is a stunning bishop f2, offering a trade. Why this move? Because if this rook takes, you will promote it into a queen. The h-pawn promotes itself into a queen. However, if you take it with this rook, now the problem is you can still just get your queen, and if you cannot get a queen here. If you take it, then rook g2, stunning move, offering the rook and ready to capture with any rook, but whichever rook captures the other promotes itself into a queen. For example, let's say white tries something like this, then black tries something like that, then he can capture, and then there is no way to stop this from becoming a queen. Alternatively, if he tries to capture something like this, then you promote this into a queen, and you cannot actually capture here because of the check, and then white has a pretty good winning endgame, right? So that's the puzzle all about. Very complex, very interesting one. I hope you got this one right. Let's see the fourth one. Right, now this is, I'll flip the board. This is black to play. What should black do here? Take your time. Figure out what should black do here. All right, the right answer is, if you look at this position, knight is threatening to capture here and deliver a fork. Unfortunately, this queen is blocking it. White is also threatening to capture here as well as here. There are multiple things that's going on this position. So black has to play the precise move in order to win this game. Can he save both this knight and bishop, as well as find some good counter for all these threats? Yes, the right answer is queen to e6, check, threatening to trade off the pieces. Now, if queen takes queen, you don't immediately recapture with your pawn or the bishop. What you do is you play an in-between move, knight to c2, check. Now the king has only one square to go, that is king f1. After he moves, now you recapture it with the bishop or with the pawn, doesn't matter. And on the next move, you can actually collect the rook. All right, let's see the fifth one now. This one, it's white to play, a very much typical position that you can see at all levels. Here, white is actually a pawn down. And is there any way that he can find a right continuation to win this game? Can you spot it? Let's pause for a moment and then see if you're able to come up with the right solution. All right, I'm going to reveal the answer now. If you have considered giving a check, then the king would run here, possibly might even block it. And then it's almost like force that you have to trade the queens, and then white is in a losing position. Black has an extra pawn and advanced king, which will go on to pick up all the other pawns, and black should be convincingly winning this endgame. However, there is one interesting move. If you look at this king, it's trapped and doesn't have many squares except for this one. So white should actually push this f5. If black is in a rush to capture it this way, then it's a checkmate. So black has to be very careful. And if he takes with the king, then we have a very beautiful attack. Can you spot? You cannot rush and play moves like this because he would just run away, and then probably you go here and then he runs away, and there is no way to win this game. Now, white actually comes up with second stunning move, that is to push this pawn, controlling that escape square. Now he is also threatening to push this and get a queen. So in case if black responds by taking this, then it's game over again. So black's natural response is to stop this by going back. And now white threatens to capture this pawn. What is the idea? If you look at this, there are no checks possible from black's end, and he has to do his best to stop this pawn from promotion. And the only way that he could do is by going here. Otherwise, white will promote it into a queen. If after queen takes, queen to f3 check, and then after the king moves, you pick up the queen. So it's not going to be a great idea to stay in this line for longer. So king f6. Now comes a simple queen e8. This is possible because black, even if he gives a check, you go here and there are no checks here possible because queen is controlling it, and there are no other check for the queen available for black. So white continues to promote and win this endgame. I hope you got this one as well right. Let's see the last puzzle. This one is slightly tricky. It's white turn. What should white do here? I hope you thought well enough. If you see, this king is literally trapped and doesn't have many squares to run to. The bishop is cutting across this diagonal, the rook is taking over the back rank, and there are pawns all over which can be just controlling the king and force itself into some sort of checkmate. Now, how should white continue? If you thought that maybe you can push this pawn and then maybe go rook b8 for a checkmate, probably it might work, but black has a very good resource. The difference is that he can actually play a6, or he can even take this pawn, force a trade, and then actually push a6. Now, I don't see any way that white can win this game, probably a draw. So that's not the right answer. The right answer is to force the king to run to a6, and then don't be in a rush to push this pawn up because the king will get an escape square, and after that there is no win. So the right answer is to get the bishop to d2, controlling this a5 square first, and then push it, leading to checkmate. Now there is no way that black can actually stop this from happening. So any such attempt would be like, that's it. It's going, nothing can stop now, b5, and it's game over. So that's the video, guys. And if you have solved all the 6 puzzles correctly, many congratulations. Leave your comments and also share your feedback, how we can take this forward and then make it much more better. I hope you enjoyed this video. Looking forward to meet you all in the next video. Thanks again. Bye.